Welcome, everyone, to today's Explainer. We're going to jump right in today because we're exploring something incredible that is happening inside you right this very second. I want you to picture a sprawling, hyper-efficient industrial complex. A bustling mega factory that handles shipping, receiving, chemical processing, toxic waste disposal, and heavy manufacturing all under one roof. But we aren't talking about a man-made facility here. Nope. We are talking about the absolute most industrious crucial organ in your body, the human liver.
To put this into perspective, think about the number 1.4. There's a biological factory inside of you right now that weighs a massive 1.4 kilograms. That literally makes it the single heaviest organ in your entire body. But honestly, its weight isn't even the most impressive part. It's the crazy work ethic. This internal factory operates on a relentless schedule. It runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It never takes a break, and it never ever clocks out.
So, here is our factory directory for today's tour. We've got 1. Your 24/7 internal factory. 2. The double delivery system. 3. Processing and storage. 4. Waste management. 5. The manufacturing hub. And finally, 6. Protecting the plant.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Part 1. Your 24/7 internal factory.
The moment you step onto this factory floor, the sheer multitasking power of the liver becomes crystal clear. This industrious structure isn't just doing one thing at a time. It simultaneously juggles 3 massive identities. It acts as a storehouse, a manufacturing hub, and a processing plant all at once. And what's truly mind-blowing here is that each of these 3 main functions involves so many critical, complex subtasks. These tasks are absolutely vital. Seriously, if this factory were to suddenly close its doors and shut down, our bodies would just stop working.
Moving right along to Part 2. The double delivery system.
So how exactly does this factory get the materials it needs to run? Well, one of the liver's absolute main jobs is to filter the body's blood. But unlike a normal factory that might just have one loading dock, the liver has a highly specialized double delivery system. It gets massive, regular shipments from 2 entirely distinct sources. On one side, you have the hepatic artery, which delivers blood straight from the heart. On the other side, there's the hepatic portal vein, bringing blood directly from the intestine. Why 2 separate delivery routes? Because both are absolutely critical. Together, they deliver the vital oxygen that the entire factory needs just to keep the lights on and stay alive.
But the blood coming from the intestine via that hepatic portal vein, that one is especially important for our tour today. Think about the very last meal you ate. The blood flowing from your intestine right now is absolutely packed with the raw materials from that food. We're talking carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, and other dissolved nutrients. This double delivery system fills the liver with an incredible influx of nutrients that are basically just sitting on the loading dock waiting to be handled.
Which brings us to Part 3, processing and storage. Once those raw materials arrive, they obviously can't just sit there. They have to be dealt with. The liver handles this massive influx by relying on its factory workers. These are thousands of tiny internal processing plants known as lobules. These lobules are entirely responsible for sorting, processing, and storing the incoming nutrients. For example, let's take those carbohydrates we just mentioned. When carbs enter the facility, the liver immediately goes to work breaking them down. It converts complex carbohydrates into simple sugars. Why? Well, because when that filtered blood is finally sent back out of the liver, your body needs those sugars as an immediate source of energy. But here's the thing, the liver is incredibly smart. It knows you don't always need all that energy right this second. Sometimes your body has leftovers, right? Nutrients it simply doesn't require at that exact moment. When that happens, the liver acts as a storehouse. It literally holds some of those nutrients back and stacks them safely away in its storage facility. It acts as a biological pantry, saving up provisions for future cases. Basically, it's prepping for a rainy day when the body might suddenly find itself in need of nutrients. All right, let's head over to Part 4, waste management. Now, the materials arriving on the loading dock aren't always useful nutrients. The blood flowing into the liver isn't always full of the good stuff. It also contains toxins and totally useless byproducts that the body simply cannot use. Because of this, the liver has to act as a highly strict security monitor. It scans all incoming shipments, and when it spots a toxic or useless substance, it immediately takes action. It either cleverly converts that toxin into a harmless product that can't hurt you anymore, or it isolates the threat entirely and whisks it away, channeling it safely through the kidneys and the intestine so it can be completely excreted from your system. And honestly, here is where the liver shows its true genius. It doesn't just throw away all the toxic waste, it recycles it.
The liver uses these specialized cells called hepatocytes. You can think of hepatocytes as an ultra-efficient, eco-friendly treatment plant hidden deep within the factory. These cells take toxic waste products and literally convert them into something incredibly useful, a bitter, greenish liquid called bile. The logistics of this recycling program are just fascinating. Let's quickly walk through exactly how this bile is handled. Step 1, as we just saw, it's produced right there on the floor by the hepatocytes. Step 2, it doesn't just spill everywhere, it gets carefully funneled into a small, specialized storage container located just below the liver, which we all know as the gallbladder. And step 3, from that container, it's systematically trickled down into the intestine exactly when it's needed. So what does this waste actually do once it hits the intestine? Bile is an absolute heavy hitter. It breaks down fats from your diet so you can actually absorb them. It ruthlessly destroys incoming microbes. It neutralizes extra, damaging stomach acid. And, as we mentioned earlier, it acts like a transport vehicle to carry other toxins and byproducts from the liver safely out of the body. Transforming toxic waste into a multi-purpose tool, now that is the ultimate sign of an efficient factory.
Next up, Part 5, the manufacturing hub.
Now, we wouldn't truly consider the liver a master factory if all it did was process raw materials and manage waste, right? A real factory builds things from scratch, and the sheer variety of goods coming off the liver's assembly line is staggering. The organ makes everything from various blood plasma proteins, which, by the way, are essential for transporting fatty acids and helping form life-saving blood clots, to cholesterol. And I know cholesterol often gets a bad rap, but your body absolutely needs the liver to manufacture it so you can create vital hormones. On top of all that, the liver is busy churning out vitamin D and various other substances that actively help with your digestion. It is just a non-stop, diverse production line.
And finally, Part 6, protecting the plant. So as we begin to wrap up our tour of this incredibly efficient industrial site, we have to talk about factory maintenance. The liver is performing multiple, highly complex tasks that all deeply depend on each other. If one department fails, the whole system is in jeopardy. A complex system like this absolutely must be kept running smoothly, and the only way to do that is by keeping it healthy and purposefully not overloading it with more toxins than it can safely handle. Remember, there's no backup facility in your body for this. This is one factory we simply cannot afford to shut down.
Which leaves us with a critical question to ponder as we finish up this explainer. What happens to our bodies if we continually overload this indispensable internal factory with more toxins than it can actually handle? Every single choice we make about what we consume sends either useful raw materials or dangerous toxins right to the liver's loading docks. Understanding this 24/7 internal factory is really the very first step in making sure it never has to close its doors. Thank you so much for joining me on this tour, and I highly encourage you to think about how you're supplying your own internal mega factory today.